Hello everyone, welcome to my video lecture. This is Dr. Nafiz Ahmad from Jamal Muhammad College. In this video, let me explore the concept of multi-tier architecture. Here, when I say architecture, more specifically, it means the software or application architecture, which describes the patterns and techniques used to design and build application. And here tier means the layer. So we have a more than one tier or layer will be there. That is why it is so called multi-tier architecture. Under this, we have two types, namely two-tier architecture and three-tier architecture. Let us first look into the first type, that is two-tier architecture. So a two-tier architecture is a software architecture in which a presentation layer or the user interface resides on the client side and the database resides on the server. So by separating these two components into different locations represents the two-tier architecture. So on the first tier, we have the user interface and business logics are located on the client side, and on the another tier, the database management services are located on the server side. And because of this nature, here this client is also known as fat client, because the client is having a too much of a workload here. It has to take care of both the user interface as well as business logic. So this is the diagrammatic representation of the two-tier architecture. If you see here, logically there will be a two layer or tiers. So on the left side we have a client, on the right side we have a server. So on the first layer or a tier, client will be there. On that, both the presentation logic and business logics were implemented. On the right side we have a server, that is the on the second layer. There you have the data layer, and we have a database and data access logic will be there. And what are all the advantages of this two-tier architecture? Or scalable up to 100 clients, improves usability by supporting user-friendly interface, improves flexibility by allowing data to be shared under homogeneous environment, and it requires minimal user or operator intervention. Server can act as a client for another server. Then this is mostly used in less complicated on-time critical information processing. And moving to the disadvantages of this two-tier architecture, namely there may be a performance deteriorates when the number of users exceeds a maximum limit, for example 100, and usage of proprietary database software reduces the flexibility and interoperability nature, considerable processing overhead on the client side, not suitable for batch processing. Then moving to the other type, that is the three-tier architecture. So it is a well-established software architecture that organizes the applications into three logical and physical computing layers, namely presentation or user interface tier, and then we have a application tier, and finally we have a data tier. So in this three-tier architecture, we are introducing one more tier to the two-tier architecture, that is a middle tier between the client and the server, and which allows the clear separation between presentation logic, business logic, and data management tiers. So this is a diagrammatic representation of this architecture. If you see, we have three layers or tiers, each are separated by one another. So first we have a presentation layer, contains presentation logic, will be reside at the client side, and in between we have a middle tier or a middleware. There business layer, it is also called as a business layer or application layer, contains all the business rules and logics. And finally we have a database server. So this is called as a data layer, which contains data access logic and the corresponding database. So in the first tier, that is a user interface tier or a presentation tier, it is considered to be the topmost level of application, and the main function of this tier is to translate the task and results to something the user can understand. So the client here contains the presentation logic, including some simple control and input validation. And in this application, the client is known as thin client. Why? Because here the client is having only the presentation or a user interface logic. Then in the middle we have a, that is a tier 2 business logic tier. So this layer or a tier coordinates the application, processes commands, makes logical decisions and evaluations, and performs some calculations. This tier is also responsible to move and process data between the two surrounding tiers or layers. So the middle tier is also called as an application server. It provides the business processes logic and data access. Obviously this tier can act as a transaction processing monitor, message server, application server, and object request broker. Then tier 3, what is called as a database tier or data tier. Here the information is stored and retrieved from a database, and similarly the information is then passed back to the logic tier for processing, and then evenly back to the user. It resides at the bottommost level, and it has data server that provides the business data, which providing data locking, consistency management, and replication facilities. Advantages of this three-tier architecture are easy to modify or replace any tier without affecting other tiers, better load balancing, Adequate security policies can be enforced, improves performance with large number of clients, increases flexibility in software implementation, and finally more scalable than the previous two-tier architecture. So that's all about this brief introduction about the two-tier and three-tier architectures. Keep watching, keep learning. Thank you.